Especially these nebulae, their shapes differ, and when viewed, they are truly magnificent and vibrant. On this day, within one of these nebulae, a long rainbow streaked across the sky. The rainbow moved slowly, but as it passed through the nebula, even the seemingly still nebula began to show signs of boiling and retreating. What was even more astonishing was that the person within this long rainbow did not use any magical treasure like a star compass, but instead walked with great strides using only their body. This person wore a blue robe, appearing to be around 30 years old. Their appearance was ordinary, with nothing particularly remarkable, but if there was anything that stood out, it was an indescribable aura of vicissitude. It was as if this person had endured the vastness of the sea, with the stars no longer in place, and the sin of 1,000 years of history lingered. Wang Lin walked along the path, not employing the great magical art of merging with heaven and earth, but instead moving steadily through the starry sky. It had already been 4 days since his return from the void. 4 days ago, with the help of Qin Shui and Yin Lazy, he had opened the passage back to the starry sky and stepped out of the void realm. As for everything concerning the void realm, Wang Lin had said little, and he had not spoken much about the whereabouts of Elder Imu, Wudong Chan, or the moon-gazing beast either. Yin Lazy had not pressed for more details, but when the name of the moon-gazing beast was mentioned, his brows furrowed. Wang Lin did not linger much with Yin Lazy, excusing himself with personal matters, and departed with a clasped fist. Yin Lazy remained silent for a long time, not attempting to stop him. With his cultivation, though he could not fully comprehend Wang Lin's ancient god body, he could still sense a powerful aura emanating from Wang Lin, one that filled him with great alarm. Though the aura was still weak, it was clear that, given time, it would grow to an incredibly terrifying level. After returning to the starry sky, Qin Shui immediately unsealed his own cultivation. After all, his immortal essence had not truly dissipated but was only sealed away. Once his cultivation was restored, Qin Shui did not remain where Yin Lazy was. He turned and vanished into the starry sky, his whereabouts unknown. On the surface, it appeared that the two of them had left without any interaction, but Wang Lin knew that Qin Shui would undoubtedly return to search for him. After all, he had not yet explored the memories of the immortal essence of the mystic treasure elder. Recalling the scenes in the void realm, Wang Lin walked through the starry sky, feeling deeply emotional. Whether it was Luo Chen's life, the outer boundary of the seal, or the secrets of the immortal realm, they all remained fresh in his memory. Among all these, what shocked him the most was the heavenly reversal pearl. Wang Lin never imagined that the heavenly reversal pearl had triggered the great war of the 4 immortal realms many years ago. The battle of the 4 immortal realms back then must have been countless times more intense than the current Luo Tian and Alliance war. Wang Lin sighed deeply as he passed through a nebula. Staring at the starry sky ahead, he turned around and stopped moving, gazing into the distance. After a moment, the starry sky he looked at rippled, and from those ripples, Qin Shui stepped out. His gaze towards Wang Lin was filled with admiration. "Senior brother has arrived," Wang Lin said calmly with a smile. "Now, you are capable of roaming the star realms." "I can rest assured," Qin Shui said, stepping forward and standing beside Wang Lin. Wang Lin immediately sensed a strong, bloody aura emanating from Qin Shui. Moreover, he faintly noticed that Qin Shui's cultivation was now significantly higher than it had been just 4 days ago. "I overheard people talking about your name along the way, so I simply killed those Alliance cultivators who were skilled at hiding," Qin Shui said casually, but Wang Lin could tell that the bloodshed involved was no small matter. Indeed, the Cultivation Alliance's slaughter domain had maintained a constant pursuit order for the truth under immortal Sumu. Even when Wang Lin entered the void, they had continued to hover around the area, though they were not scattered, instead split into 2 groups watching Luo Tian's location. However, the slaughter domain was unlucky, and Qin Shui, the Calamity Star, encountered one of those groups. After a massacre, that group of cultivators was completely wiped out, and even their leader was devoured by Qin Shui. Wang Lin patted his storage pouch, and immediately, the immortal essence of the mystic treasure elder flew out. He tossed it toward Qin Shui. Qin Shui caught it without hesitation, pressing his right hand on the heavenly spirit of the mystic treasure elder's immortal essence. His immortal essence flowed for just a moment, and the mystic treasure elder's consciousness woke up, letting out a series of mournful screams, his body twitching uncontrollably. Qin Shui's face darkened, and after closing his eyes for a long while, he opened them again, his expression cold as he flicked the mystic treasure elder's immortal essence toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin said nothing as he caught the immortal essence. This immortal essence had now lost all intelligence, becoming nothing more than a vessel filled with immortal essence. Once a grand immortal, a disciple of the heavenly treasure elder, now reduced to such a fate. It could only be said that whether one was an immortal or a cultivator, in this brutal world of cultivation, one mistake could lead to ruin. If one hoped for exceptions, they would have to become the strongest. Wang Lin stored the immortal essence in his pouch and looked at Qin Shui. At this moment, Qin Shui's expression had returned to calm, but his eyes showed a hint of savagery. He had found a clue within the mystic treasure elder's immortal essence. Sumu, I need to go to the Cultivation Alliance's slaughter domain to retrieve something. Would you be willing to accompany me? Qin Shui looked at Wang Lin and said slowly. Wang Lin paused for a moment before replying, Can you wait for me 10 days? Qin Shui nodded and said solemnly, All right, I will seek you out in 10 days. With that, Qin Shui stopped speaking, took a step into the void, and vanished without a trace. In the instant of his disappearance, a surge of overwhelming killing intent flashed and vanished. Wang Lin sighed inwardly. He knew that Qin Shui must have discovered something within Mystic Treasure Elder's divine sense. After a brief moment of silence, Wang Lin turned and began walking forward. The ripples beneath his feet echoed as they merged with the world and disappeared. He mentioned 10 days because of two matters. To the north of the Alliance star domain, there is a cultivation star located deep in the northern reaches, far from the battlefield of several days ago, unaffected by it. From a distance, the star appears to be abundant with spiritual energy, covered in vibrant green, surrounded by endless forests. This is a level 7 cultivation star. Around this star, 3 smaller cultivation stars orbit, serving as its satellites. This level 7 cultivation star has a beautiful name, Dark Moon. On Dark Moon Star, most of the land is covered in dense forests, with scattered mortal villages and several cultivation sects located in various mountain ranges. In the southern part, there is a famous mountain known as Tian Shan. This mountain is towering, and from the base, all one can see is mist swirling around, unsure whether the peak reaches the heavens. A stone pathway winds down from the mountaintop, much of it hidden within the clouds, evoking an ethereal, otherworldly feeling. Every morning, the sound of bells rings out from the mountain, echoing throughout the area. A few beautiful birds, resembling dark dots, fly through the mist, circling Tian Shan, occasionally emitting sharp calls that blend with the bell tolls. This scene, like a painting, is peaceful and elegant, almost like a paradise untouched by the world. Dong, dong, dong. The sound of the bell, rising and falling, seems to cut through the mist surrounding the mountain, slowly drifting out, bringing a sense of tranquility to all who hear it. At the foot of the mountain, there is a small mortal village. This village is small, with fewer than 100 households, surrounded by apricot trees. These trees are full of apricot blossoms, and when the wind blows, a refreshing fragrance fills the air, spreading throughout the surroundings. The scent of apricots naturally fills the heart with a sense of nostalgia. The bell tolls seem to chase away the night chill, and at dawn, the sound of cooking smoke rising and dogs barking can be heard. The rising smoke floats gently, like the final traces of twilight dissolving into the morning light. From a distance, the scene, with its moving smoke and still, ancient houses, encapsulates a certain essence of life, busy yet peaceful, where the motion and stillness blend effortlessly. Wang Lin stood silently at a distance, gazing at the village ahead. Against the backdrop of the rising smoke, the moving elements are the rising smoke and the gently swaying apricot trees, while the stillness is represented by rows of century-old houses. The movement and stillness, subtly combined, evoke a sense of both the busy and serene nature of human life, bringing Wang Lin a familiar yet distant memory. He was not recalling the village before him, but rather Zhuchue's childhood. In a trance, a children's song drifted over from a nearby spot, accompanied by the crisp sound of a bell ringing through the morning stillness. Apricot tree, blooming white flowers, don't let the girl marry a Taoist. Before the year ends, Erlang just went up the mountain. After the year, Erlang's bones are cold. The girl cries by the dead, thinking the coffin is her own. Apricot tree, blooming white flowers, children should never see Taoists. If you ask my age, I still don't have a Taoist fate. When the dog barks, the cat catches, scaring the Taoist back to his home. The childlike voice echoed in Wang Lin's ears, growing closer with the sound of bells. A young child in simple clothes was riding a yellow ox, slowly walking toward the village along the country road. The ox had an iron ring on its nose, with 2 bells attached to it. As the ox moved, the bells chimed continuously. Behind the ox, a few calves followed. When the child saw Wang Lin, there was no sign of unfamiliarity. Singing the rhyme, the child gradually approached. As the child reached Wang Lin's side, they tilted their head, blinking their big eyes, and said in a crisp voice, "Uncle, are you lost?" Wang Lin smiled, nodded, and asked, "What place is this?" The child smiled and pointed ahead, their tender voice ringing out, "This is Apricot Blossom Village." Then, the child continued to ride the ox toward the village, gradually fading away, leaving only the rhyme echoing. Wang Lin sighed deeply. The rhyme, though light, carried a subtle sadness. He muttered to himself, "Dark Moon Star, the village at the foot of Tian Shan. This is it." In Wang Lin's ears, the faint echo of a former acquaintance's longing call at the end of their life could be heard. "Please take my ashes back to the Alliance Star Domain's Dark Moon Star. There is a mountain there, and I remember a village at its foot. Take my ashes and deliver them there." A small white jade bottle appeared in Wang Lin's hand. Holding it, Wang Lin sighed softly and murmured, "Sun Tai, our past is over. I once promised to return your ashes to your hometown. Today, I have done it." As he spoke, the small vial in his hand flew out automatically, landing on a nearby patch of ground. After merging with the soil, a small mound of earth slowly began to rise. With a flick of his right hand, Wang Lin traced something in the air with his fingers. As a flash of crystal light flickered, a gravestone appeared on the mound. On it, dragon and phoenix danced in graceful strokes, inscribed with a few small characters. Grave of Sun Tai. We, the cultivators, experience the passage of time in the blink of an eye, hundreds, thousands of years, while all our family and kin dwindle with each generation. Even if they remain, the bloodline connection fades. Once we walk the path of cultivation, life and death are uncertain, and our lives are destined to be hard. Walking this rugged path to immortality, when we look back, the light of our past is already hard to see, and ahead, the mist of the immortal realm looms. Wang Lin sighed deeply, gazing at Sun Tai's grave, feeling a wave of emotion. Today, you die far from home. I, Wang Lin, shall return your ashes to your homeland. Should I die one day, I wonder if anyone will carry my ashes back to Vermilion Bird. Wang Lin fell silent, then turned and walked away. This is fate. His footsteps did not falter, and as he walked, he gradually disappeared into the distance. Yet, the lullaby, the song of melancholy, continued to linger in his ears, refusing to fade from his heart. Apricot blossom tree, blooming white flowers. To cultivate the Tao, to cultivate the Tao. Mortal men long to become immortals, to step onto the immortal path, but they do not know how many of us who walk this path secretly envy the simplicity of immortal life. How many, like Sun Tai, die far from home, their ashes scattered by the wind, unable to find their way back. How many parents, even as they reach their deathbeds, never see their children return. One cannot help but wonder, if we could choose again, if we could start over, would we still take that first step onto the path of cultivation? This lullaby, how much sorrow and yearning does it carry from the generations? When sung by the child, others may not understand, but a cultivator's heart will ache. The name of this lullaby must surely be, "Do not cultivate the Tao." The figure of Wang Lin disappeared, merging into the void. Yet the lullaby, and the profound realization it carried, remained forever etched in the world. Under the starry sky, Wang Lin walked ahead. Despite the short duration of his journey, the emotions it stirred within him were indelible, lingering in his heart. Between the western and northern regions of the Alliance, a buffer zone had already been established for the Luotian cultivators. At the forefront, near the battlefield from that fateful day, there was a cultivation star. The star had been relatively well preserved after the battle, though its spiritual energy had diminished considerably. However, to Lai Yunzi, it did not matter much. Lai Yunzi sat cross-legged atop a mountain on the cultivation star. Beside him sat a young man, his face clouded with dark thoughts. Though he too was seated, his gaze was fixed on the distance, as though waiting for something. If Wang Lin were here, he would recognize this young man as Su Ting, who had nearly perished in that great battle. Above Lai Yunzi, 13 floating blood spheres hovered. These blood spheres were the remnants of the Luo Fu from that battle. On this cultivation star, the Luo Tian cultivators were few in number, with only a handful present. Among them, Lai Yunzi was the leader. His presence here was crucial, for with the 13 blood spheres of Luo Fu, he could form a powerful defensive line to prevent any further attacks from the Cultivation Alliance. His divine sense merged with the 13 blood spheres. Under their influence, his divine sense expanded exponentially, allowing him to detect any movement within countless starry realms. Wang Lin's figure emerged from the rippling waves of energy, arriving at the edge of the cultivation star. He had come seeking Lai Yunzi. This was one of the matters he had to attend to. After his return from the void, a divine thought had entered his mind just before he left. This divine thought came from Lai Yunzi. On the mountain peak of the cultivation star, Lai Yunzi slowly opened his eyes. The moment his eyes fluttered open, the 13 blood spheres around him trembled. 13 red eyes simultaneously appeared on the spheres, all focused on one direction. A tremendous aura of pressure condensed, forming a divine art powerful enough to collapse the starry sky. Lai Yunzi's lips curled into a slight smile, and he spoke slowly. "You've come." With his cultivation, he could naturally tell that Wang Lin had undergone some changes, but he did not ask further. After all, his insights were not as profound as Yan Lazy's. Su Ting's eyes flashed coldly. A murderous aura emanated from him, clearly unrestrained as he stared at Wang Lin, whose figure was gradually becoming more visible. Under the gaze of the 13 blood eyes, Wang Lin's figure materialized. His expression remained unchanged, as though he was unaffected by the overwhelming pressure. He didn't even glance at the murderous Su Ting and cupped his hands in greeting to Lai Yunzi. "Su Mu, pays respects to Senior Lai Yunzi." Lai Yunzi waved his right hand. At once, the blood eyes within the 13 blood spheres flickered and vanished, their strange power dissipating. Wang Lin's expression remained unchanged throughout, and as he took a step forward, he stood atop the mountain peak, facing Su Ting across from him. "Su Mu, you," Su Ting hissed sharply. Annoying. Wang Lin shot Su Ting a cold glance. That gaze, however, felt like a sharp sword, piercing straight into Su Ting's eyes. Su Ting felt a thunderous rumble in his mind, and his complexion changed instantly. His spirit shook so violently that his body went limp, as if Wang Lin's simple words had contained the will of heaven and earth. Not only did it reverse the flow of his blood, but it even threatened to shatter his immortal essence. Thud, thud, thud. In that moment, all sounds around Su Ting were blocked out. All he could hear was the frantic pounding of his own heart, speeding up uncontrollably, and sweat pouring down without end. To him, Wang Lin just now felt as if he were facing an elder from his family, with no rebellious thoughts stirring within. But what truly terrified him was the overwhelming aura in Wang Lin's words, stronger than heavenly might, pressing down on him. It made him feel like he was standing under a giant's foot, and the giant's roar, if it willed, could obliterate his body, spirit, and soul in an instant. A mouthful of blood sprayed from Su Ting's mouth, his eyes wide in horror. Without thinking, he staggered back, staring at Wang Lin with a blank mind. He couldn't understand why this was happening. Lai Yunzi's eyes lit up, and he softly clicked his tongue. He looked at Wang Lin, his expression suddenly serious. Wang Lin ignored Su Ting and instead cupped his hands towards Lai Yunzi, speaking calmly. "I am unaware of why Senior summoned me here. May I ask what instructions you have?" Though Wang Lin's voice was calm, Lai Yunzi's expression grew heavier, and his gaze toward Wang Lin became far more serious than before, no longer the casual one he reserved for a junior. This was exactly the result Wang Lin wanted, to strike fear into the tiger by shaking the mountain. With his intelligence, how could Wang Lin not understand what Lai Yunzi was about? Years ago, he had no qualifications to discuss terms with him, but now he had the chance. "On the day of your immortal conferment, I showed you the battle calligraphy of my Zhan family's greatest treasure," Lai Yunzi said, raising his left hand and grasping the air. Immediately, a crack appeared before him, and a black light shot out from within. A black scroll wrapped in dark light floated into Lai Yunzi's left hand, hanging still in midair. "This is the second piece of the battle calligraphy from my Zhan family's 3-scroll collection." Lai Yunzi extended his hand forward and looked at Wang Lin, his eyes burning with anticipation. Wang Lin grasped the scroll but didn't open it. Instead, he smiled slightly and raised his head to look at Lai Yunzi, speaking in a deep voice. "Senior Lai Yunzi, I cannot view this second scroll for free." Lai Yunzi's expression darkened. However, the memory of Wang Lin's low command just now echoed in his mind. After pondering for a moment, he let out a hearty laugh and nodded. "All right, Su Mu, you have guts. What do you want? Speak." Wang Lin pointed to the 13 floating blood spheres above them, speaking calmly. To view the second scroll, I require one of those blood spheres. Lai Yunzi fell silent, a strange smile appearing on his face as he asked, "Is this a treasure you can possess?" Wang Lin smiled faintly and didn't answer directly. Instead, he said plainly, "Before coming here, I made an agreement with my senior brother. A few days later, he will come to seek me, and we will go somewhere together." Lai Yunzi fixed a deep gaze on Wang Lin before bursting into laughter. "I will send it to you." He raised his right hand and grabbed the air, summoning a blood sphere that quickly shrank to the size of a fist. With a flick of his hand, it flew toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin cautiously caught it, examined it, and then placed it into his storage pouch. "Now, you may look," Lai Yunzi said in a deep voice. "Since Su Ting, the Xun'er Immortal, is preparing to obtain this opportunity with me, it's better for him to look first." "After all, he viewed the first scroll before me," Wang Lin said, tossing the scroll towards Su Ting. At this moment, Su Ting's mind was still in turmoil, his body unsteady as he unconsciously caught the scroll. He opened it, and the moment the scroll unfurled, a roar like thunder exploded from within. A fierce battle intent erupted, rising into the air, crashing down towards Su Ting. Su Ting's body trembled as if a violent wind were hitting him. It felt as though a ferocious ancient beast, sealed within the scroll, was now unleashed. The beast's fury surged forth, carrying with it anger accumulated over countless millennia, all spilling out at once, as if it sought to devour him whole. Lai Yunzi's expression shifted subtly, showing a rare trace of nervousness. With his cultivation and age, such anxiety was almost unheard of. He clearly understood that in his family, over the years, many talented individuals had been able to view the first scroll, but when they tried to open the second, even before it fully opened, they were overwhelmed by the unimaginable battle intent within. The weaker ones were severely wounded or crippled, and the stronger ones, their souls and bodies were obliterated completely. Only a few people could open the second picture. Even then, those who did were only able to open it a little. In all these years, across generations, only 3 people, including him, could fully open it. Only those 3 could completely and thoroughly open the second picture. Su Ting's face turned pale as his body trembled, sweat pouring from him in torrents. His eyes were blank, staring at the slight opening in the picture scroll ahead of him. At that moment, he could clearly feel the fierce flames bursting out from the tiny gap in the scroll, as if they were about to devour him completely. This sensation was excruciating, like a breath lodged in his chest, wanting to scream but unable to make a sound. In his ears, there seemed to be roars and howls from ancient times. A fierce wind blew at him, his clothes whipping loudly, and his long hair fluttering wildly. He seemed to be hallucinating, as though he were a lone boat on the raging ocean, struggling against the turbulent waves. However, Su Ting was, after all, a prodigy from the Su family of Donglin Star. He had entered the immortal ascension pool and refined his mind to attain immortal essence. Had he lived in the ancient immortal realm, he would truly be an immortal. He took a deep breath, and his eyes flashed with determination. In this perilous situation, he suppressed the shock within his heart, focusing his entire mind and body. Slowly, he began to open the scroll with trembling hands. This scene made Lai Yunzi's eyes light up. He gazed at Su Ting with admiration, silently thinking, when Su Ting merged with the first picture scroll, it only took him a few moments. Among the cultivators I've encountered, the second picture can usually only be opened up to about 40%. I wonder how much Su Ting can open. Wang Lin remained expressionless, coldly watching Su Ting. As Su Ting's hands trembled even more violently, with each slight opening of the scroll, the fierce flames surged higher and higher. He even had the illusion that what he was holding in his hands was a true ancient beast, and that he was about to release its seal, allowing it to devour him. Time passed slowly. The scroll continued to open more and more under Su Ting's trembling hands. His clothes were drenched in sweat, his face pale. By now, he had opened the second battle calligraphy scroll about 40%. The overwhelming battle intent emanating from the scroll was already extremely intense. A storm seemed to materialize around him, sweeping through the area. There was a deafening rumble as black light flashed wildly from the scroll, nearly engulfing Su Ting in its darkness. Su Ting's heart and mind shook, but deep inside him, a sense of unyielding resolve emerged. With gritted teeth, he roared, channeling all his immortal essence. His hands yanked the scroll open forcefully. With a loud crash, he managed to open the scroll 70%. Lai Yunzi suddenly stood up, his eyes filled with unimaginable excitement. At the moment the scroll was opened 70%, a beastly roar erupted from it. Suddenly, a massive black mist poured out of the scroll, transforming into a giant beast that charged towards Su Ting, trying to swallow him whole. Hold on. Lai Yunzi's eyes glimmered with hope. Su Ting staggered as the giant beast came rushing toward him. He spat out a mouthful of blood, his body flipping in the air, and with each impact, a mist of blood sprayed from his body. He gave a bitter laugh as he crashed onto the ground more than 10 meters away. The battle calligraphy scroll immediately retracted and hovered motionlessly in the air, as if nothing had happened. Lai Yunzi sighed inwardly. Su Ting had opened 70%. Though he was unable to resist the beast spirit formed by the battle intent, among all the people who had tried to open the second battle calligraphy scroll over the years, he was already exceptionally talented. With a wave of his right hand, the scroll flew toward Wang Lin. Lai Yunzi's face turned grim as he spoke. Su Mu, it's your turn. Wang Lin's expression remained calm. He caught the scroll and glanced at Lai Yunzi. He had suspected for some time that Lai Yunzi had a specific purpose in allowing him to view the second scroll, and upon seeing Su Ting's miserable fate, he was now certain. What was even more important was that Wang Lin had clearly sensed that the bit of essence Su Ting had gained from viewing the first battle calligraphy scroll had been forcibly siphoned away the moment the giant beast devoured him. This battle calligraphy scroll is quite interesting. Wang Lin smiled faintly, holding the scroll in his hands. Suddenly, he opened it. With a swish, the scroll opened just a little. Instantly, the ancient beastly flames roared out, charging toward Wang Lin, seemingly wanting to consume him. Lai Yunzi focused on Wang Lin. In truth, while he had initially valued Wang Lin, his expectations were not very high. Wang Lin was not the first outsider to be allowed to view the battle calligraphy scroll. However, over the years, even those who had opened the scroll had only managed to open it halfway. No one had ever fully opened it. However, what just transpired was a complete reversal of Lu Yunzi's perception of Wang Lin. The fact that Wang Lin could make demands and even use the influence of Qing Shui to suppress him. This may seem simple, but how many in the cultivation world could grasp an opportunity with such precision? More importantly, how many would dare to do such a thing in front of him? Compared to Su Ting, Lu Yunzi was more eager to see Wang Lin's response. The ancient ferocious flame approached, yet Wang Lin's expression remained unchanged. To him, this so-called flame was no match for his ancient god might. It was like a small beast standing before him. No matter how much it roared, it was still weak, just as weak as ever. In the calm, Wang Lin slowly unrolled the scroll. As he did, the ferocious flame grew stronger, and the roar of fury became even more intense, transforming into a wild wind that swept towards Wang Lin. However, this wind could not budge Wang Lin an inch. Lu Yunzi's pupils constricted, his eyes filled with intense light as he stared closely at Wang Lin. At this moment, Su Ting, over 10 zhang away, had already lost most of his immortal essence. As he watched Wang Lin, an endless hatred and complexity filled his eyes. Wang Lin's movements were slow. After unrolling about 30% of the scroll, he snorted coldly. No longer wasting time, he suddenly opened his hands with force, and with a loud boom, he opened it up to 70%. In that instant, the giant beast that had previously devoured Su Ting began to transform with earth-shattering roars, charging at Wang Lin in a frenzy. Wang Lin's eyes gleamed with cold light as he locked onto the beast charging toward him. He muttered, "Demonic beast, how dare you!" The shout rang out like thunder splitting the sky, echoing across the entire cultivation star. Even the mountain beneath Wang Lin's feet trembled with booming sounds, showing signs of collapse. The surrounding earth shook violently, like a dragon moving beneath the ground, creating massive cracks and ravines. Had Wang Lin faced a great expert cultivator, he might not have been exceedingly powerful. But in this moment, this mere ancient beast spirit could not even shake Wang Lin's mind. Wang Lin was no ordinary ancient god. He was a true 5-star royal ancient god. With that low shout, the giant beast immediately whimpered. As it pounced towards Wang Lin, its body rolled back, its eyes filled with fear and dread. It was immediately scared back into the scroll by Wang Lin's words. In that split second, the beast clearly felt an aura so terrifying that it made it tremble. This aura was something it had encountered in its ancient memories, a presence it dared not provoke. This unbelievable sight caused Lu Yunzi's eyes to widen. With his cultivation, even he was momentarily stunned. But soon, a wave of overwhelming joy surged within him. Sumu actually made the beast's spirit tremble. Only our ancestor, Zhan Xingye, in all the years of the Zhan family, has been able to do this. Lu Yunzi ignored everything around him and stared intently at Wang Lin. Su Ting clenched his fists, his eyes filled with intense shock. Wang Lin didn't hesitate. After his shout, he forcefully spread his hands, completely unrolling the entire scroll. On it, the character, Xun, danced in calligraphy, almost as if it were going to break free from the scroll. It was astonishing. A sense of vicissitude spread from the character, Xun, and in the blink of an eye, Wang Lin's pupils reflected Xun's character, flickering. In that moment, his eyes suddenly blurred, and he fell into a strange realm of insight. It was still the endless starry sky, and still the elderly man in white. But now, the elder was seated cross-legged, his right hand drawing in the void, continuously writing the character Xun. 30,000 years ago, I reached the void realm and grasped the pulse of the world. Throughout my life, I left no successor, and all that I cultivated became this single character. Now, before I break the boundary of this realm, to avoid regret from failure, I leave behind 6 scrolls with the character Xun. If anyone in the future obtains all of them, they will be my successor. As the elder spoke to himself, his right hand suddenly halted. Long, countless variations of the character Xun appeared, each varying in size, spreading throughout the air. With a flick of the elder's finger, these characters emitted a deep black light, instantly condensing and forming one single word. Xun. The elder's voice was calm, but as the word left his mouth, it shook the character, transforming into a black beam of light that vanished into the void. Wang Lin shuddered. The Xun character in his pupils disappeared, and he regained his clarity. Did you see that? Lu Yunzi stepped forward, his eyes filled with excitement as he urgently asked. Wang Lin remained silent for a moment, then nodded. Just as he was about to speak, Lu Yunzi flicked his large sleeve, and Su Ting, over 10 zhang away, was immediately swept away by a violent wind, thrown several miles away in an instant. Now, tell me, what did you see? Lu Yunzi suppressed his excitement and asked in a deep voice. Heritage, Wang Lin slowly said. Legacy, it truly is a legacy. The disappearance of our ancestor is undoubtedly deeply tied to this legacy. Lu Yunzi's expression shifted, and although he had ways of determining whether what Wang Lin said was true, there was no need for that now. The mere mention of the legacy was enough to prove everything. Back then, when our ancestor Zhan Xingye saw the second picture, he said something very similar. Had our ancestor not disappeared, even with the strength he possessed at the time, not even the Thunder Immortal Palace would have dared to provoke the Zhan family, let alone those ancient cultivation clans. As long as our ancestor was here, the glory of the Zhan family was secure. But everything changed with the ancestor's disappearance. Generations of descendants have all harbored the intention of finding him. Our ancestor is not dead. If he were, the life slip on the ancestral tablet would have broken. Lu Yunzi's mind raced. Among the Zhan family members, only 3 could see the second picture, but no one could open the third one. This was something he had never shared with anyone, not even the younger generation of the family. They all believed that he, Lu Yunzi, and the family elders could comprehend the third picture. Even Zhang Konglai thought the same. Lu Yunzi let out a bitter smile in his heart. He knew that the 3 of them, including himself, could only understand the second picture. That was all. Not a single one of them, like Sumu here, could immerse their mind in it. It had nothing to do with cultivation or talent. The exact reason, Lu Yunzi had never been able to fathom in his life. Sumu, if you were to look at this third picture, what price must I pay? You tell me. After a long silence, Lu Yunzi looked at Wang Lin and slowly said. In truth, he had a personal agenda. Apart from looking for the ancestor, the more important reason was a sentence from the jade slip left by the ancestor, Zhan Xingye, when he disappeared. If anyone in the Zhan family can obtain this legacy, they will reach the pinnacle. Wang Lin fell silent. After a long time, he shook his head. With my current cultivation, I shouldn't be able to open the third picture. When he had just examined the second battle calligraphy, a surge of primordial energy emerged from it, merging into his third eye on his forehead. This is not about cultivation. Try it. Any request? I, Lu Yunzi, will do my best to fulfill. Lu Yunzi slapped his forehead, and immediately a thick black light radiated from his heavenly spirit, revealing a scroll that floated out. This scroll was none other than the third battle calligraphy. Lu Yunzi took a deep breath, grasped the third battle calligraphy, and handed it to Wang Lin. Wang Lin caught it, and the moment his right hand touched it, he immediately felt a powerful aura that shook his mind. This aura was far stronger than the second picture. I absolutely cannot open this scroll. Wang Lin's third eye twitched, and he immediately sensed a tremendous danger emanating from it. He had a feeling that if he recklessly opened this picture, even a little, he would not be able to endure it. Lu Yunzi, Unless I seek my own death, if I open this scroll, there will be no chance of survival. Wang Lin looked at Lai Yunzi, then threw the third picture back. Lai Yunzi's face darkened. However, Lai Yunzi, don't worry. I do want to see this third battle calligraphy. If one day my cultivation is sufficient, I will come to you to look at this scroll. But right now, if I look at it, once the aura inside kills me, you may have to look for someone else. Wang Lin stepped back a few paces and calmly said. He was sure that Lai Yunzi wouldn't harm him. Of course, if the man really intended to act recklessly, Wang Lin was prepared. Even if he couldn't defeat him, he could escape or delay until Qing Shui arrived. Lai Yunzi stared at Wang Lin, his mind turning. He naturally understood the danger of looking at the third picture. Over the years, anyone who had tried to open the third picture had perished immediately. Even he dared not open it to this day. Moreover, Sumu had just contributed greatly to Luo Tian, and if he forcefully imprisoned him or caused his death by making him view the third picture, Yan Lazy would definitely intervene. Although Lai Yunzi didn't care much about this, he was certain that Yan Lazy, after weighing the situation, wouldn't risk turning against him over a mere junior during such a critical war. But what he was really concerned about was Qing Shui. In his view, Qing Shui was a madman, and it wouldn't be surprising if he pursued the matter of Sumu out of anger. Qing Shui fought the blood god for Sumu, and killed people from the Thunder Immortal Palace during the Immortal Conferment ceremony. If I truly keep Sumu here, it might bring trouble upon me. Lai Yunzi's expression darkened, and he had one more worry. Sumu did not seem as easy to keep as he had thought. For all these years, I've only met Sumu, who could understand the meaning of the picture. If he dies, I don't know when I will find another. It's better to try to please him. At least then, there's a chance. Lai Yunzi pondered, then suddenly laughed and nodded with appreciation. Good, not arrogant, not hasty, just like our true Thunder Immortal, Sumu. Though our Zhan family can't revive your crippled nascent soul like the Xiang family, we do have methods to solidify your foundation. When you come to me to view the third picture in the future, I will ensure that you are not at a disadvantage and pass on this technique to you. Moreover, I will use the full power of the family to grant you one request, anything you wish, as long as it is within the Zhan family's ability. Lai Yunzi was putting in a huge effort. Wang Lin showed gratitude on his face and respectfully said, "Thank you, senior. You can rest assured about this matter." Lai Yunzi nodded with a smile and said, "All right, since you have an agreement with Qing Shui, you should leave for now." Wang Lin cupped his fists in a salute and stepped back a few paces, turning into a streak of rainbow light that shot straight up to the heavens, disappearing into the distance. Once Wang Lin left, Lai Yunzi's expression immediately darkened. Muttering to himself, he said, "Yan Lazy wouldn't argue with me over such a trivial matter, but Qing Shui. However, Qing Shui won't live much longer. After Qing Shui dies, Sumu, I'll see how you manage to escape." After leaving the cultivation star, Wang Lin's expression also darkened as he sped off. Previously, when Lai Yunzi called, he had no choice but to come. Not showing up would have offended him instantly. Since he planned to use Luo Tian to escape future dangers, he couldn't afford to ignore Lai Yunzi's summon. Moreover, the two hadn't openly torn their faces yet, so there was no reason for him not to come. Since he had to go, Wang Lin, being the cunning person he was, naturally came well prepared. Even without the 10-day agreement with Qing Shui, he had still intended to seek his help. Furthermore, Wang Lin believed that meeting Lai Yunzi could be beneficial to him. In fact, his analysis was proven correct. Not only had his primordial force increased slightly, but he also learned the origin of the battle calligraphy and obtained a Luofu blood orb. Had he not come to see Lai Yunzi, the trouble he would face in the future would multiply. After all, Lai Yunzi was one of the old monsters of Luo Tian. As Wang Lin flew through space, he reflected on the scenes from earlier, his expression slowly calming. With a cold smile, he disappeared into the starry sky. He soon found a huge floating stone in the vast emptiness of space and sat cross-legged on it, waiting for Qing Shui to arrive. Several days later, ripples echoed before him, and Qing Shui stepped out. The moment he appeared, a thick stench of blood filled the air. Behind Qing Shui, a series of grotesque heads, filled with despair, floated one by one, numbering over 100. Wang Lin opened his eyes, and then let out a wry smile. Qing Shui's cultivation had improved since 10 days ago. Clearly, many cultivators had been devoured by him in the past few days. These people are from the Slaughter Domain realm, skilled in hiding their presence. If we want to enter the Slaughter Domain, we need these heads, Qing Shui said as he waved his right hand, causing the heads to float in front of him, forming a circle. Netherworld Immortal Art. Qing Shui made a hand seal, his immortal essence flowing. He then pointed forward, and with a loud bang, one of the heads suddenly exploded, a blood mist spreading. The sounds of explosions continued, and in the blink of an eye, all the heads exploded. The dense blood mist spread out, swirling rapidly at Qing Shui's command. As the speed increased, the spirits of the hundreds of cultivators lingered in the mist, and their chilling screams echoed through Wang Lin's mind. Netherworld pathfinding. Qing Shui's cold voice echoed, and the screams of the remaining souls intensified. They intertwined, converging at the center of the swirling vortex, forming a black hole-like object. The memories of these souls, all related to the location of the Slaughter Domain, were merged, creating a path that guided them to the domain, a channel formed by the collective thoughts of over 100 cultivators about the Slaughter Domain. This was the Netherworld Immortal Art, pathfinding through the Netherworld. The black hole, formed from the guiding force of over 100 cultivators, spun wildly and seemed to tear through space itself. In an instant, it revealed a dark red world. There, buildings resembling great swords pierced the void, and a murderous aura spread out. At the center stood a towering structure, a high tower that reached at least 1,000 feet. Black iron chains extended from the tower to connect with nearby buildings. This was the Slaughter Domain. This technique is quite practical. It was my favorite in the past. Qing Shui's eyes flashed with killing intent as he took out a jade slip, inscribed with a chant, and tossed it to Wang Lin without hesitation before stepping into the vortex. Wang Lin sighed wryly as he caught the jade slip. He thought to himself that what Qing Shui liked was probably the speed and convenience of barging into his enemy's home. Without further thought, Wang Lin also stepped into the vortex, following Qing Shui. Inside the Slaughter Domain, a massive vortex suddenly appeared, catching the attention of the local cultivators. Almost immediately, a chilling voice spread through the area. I am Qing Shui of the Thunder Immortal Realm. Today, I come for an old item, and to annihilate this realm. As the voice echoed, it turned into a murderous storm that surged from the ground, sweeping through the entire Slaughter Domain. Boom, boom, boom. In an instant, countless sword-shaped buildings collapsed in explosive bursts. What kind of old item is Qing Shui seeking here in the Slaughter Domain? After extracting the memory of Mystic Treasure Elder, he's unleashing such fury. Wang Lin stepped out of the vortex, his eyes cold as he gazed toward the Slaughter Domain and the Cultivation Alliance's 8 realms.